Welcome to the Intelight tutorial 120. This tutorial is going to review the steps to changing out a controller in the field. What I like to do before I change out a controller is see what's going on inside of it. From the main menu, I like to see that I'm at the right intersection. I like to go into the summary screen and make sure that this controller is cycling, it's got good data in it. I don't want to copy bad data into a new controller. Then I usually go into the controller and I just double check the sequence and phase configuration. So I'll go into sequence 1 and take a look at it. So I got phases 1, 2, 4, all in ring 1, nothing else in there. And then I go into phase configuration and make sure they're the same, just to kind of verify my mind of what this intersection looks like as far as programming is concerned. This is just a quick review of what's in the controller, and I simply end there and start changing. The first real step I do is save the data to a database, a flat file. Take the running timings. I go to 3 for administration, 4 for databases, and 1 for save. Now I could just leave the default database.ben and hit the enter key, or I can change the name by hitting E to edit. And I'm simply going to go in here and put my name in, my first name, just to make it something different. You can make it 1, 2, 3, or you could give it the intersection name. Whatever you want to type in, you want to make sure that it's a unique file name when you copy it out to your thumb drive. And I'm just going to put arnie.ben, hit escape, and then I hit enter to save, and it will come back and say it's saved. And that's step number 1, saving. The next step is to put the USB drive in one of the USB ports on the controller so we can copy the database we just created onto the USB. After I put the USB drive in, I want to go from the database menu into number 5, the database, copy database to USB. It takes a second to read. You should see the LED blinking on the USB drive. And it says Mount Vernon and 4 Mile Run, but the database I saved was just arnie.ben. So I hit the plus key to find it, and I hit the enter key to save it away. It has been saved, so I simply... The next step is to power up the replacement controller, and once it's up and running, you'll notice that it will not be the intersection we had before, but it's up and running, it's got power on it. So you simply go to 3 for administration, go to 4 for databases, and then you want to go to 4 to copy databases from the USB. Now when you go in here, it reads the USB, and you hit the plus key to scroll through all the databases on your thumb drive. They usually are sorted by date, so the very bottom one is the new database you want to put in. So we're going to hit find our database, and it cycles down through. And when we get there, there's arnold.ben. We simply hit enter, and it copies the database from the controller we're taking out into the new controller. It has been saved. We hit escape. The next step is that now that we've copied the database into this controller, we have to select it. So if you from the main menu, you'll notice that we still have the replacement intersection. We go 3 for administration, 4 for databases, 2 for select databases, and we hit the plus key to scroll through. So there's 4 basic steps: save, copy out, copy in, select. That's save, copy out, copy in, and select. We find arnie.ben, we hit enter. Notice there's a message, will be used after reboot. So now that we've selected it, we have to reboot. Now that we power cycled the replacement controller, it comes up and it says Mount Vernon and 4 Mile Run. So that's the database that was running on the controller we're taking out. We also want to verify the status. So, you always want to go into 1 and 1 for the summary screen. And you want to watch it go through a few cycles. Now, you could watch it go back and forth. We have 1 and 2 on recall. But I always like to make sure I can service all the phases, don't have any conflicts. So I'll arrow over to 4, and I'll hit the plus key to put a manual call in. It will have an M. And we'll watch it go through the flashing don't walk, extended green. And then when phase 2 goes yellow, phase 4 is next. Phase 4 will start flashing. So phase 4 is flashing, it's coming up next. The phase with the brackets is the one that's on. So it's green, extend, and the next phase that'll come up will be phase 1. So it's flashing now. And when we clear red, we will go to 1. Now, we should always, watch a few cycles. Make sure that nothing goes bad. Just don't close the door and run away. Certainly watch a few cycles. Make sure you take any manual calls back out and watch it without the manual call. But that's pretty much it. The only last step is if you've got any differences in communications on IP addresses. The last step is communications. If you've got COM, if you're talking to it from a central computer or from an on-street master, the only thing that doesn't get copied over in the database is the IP addresses and any COM settings, because we don't want to have conflicting IPs. So here we will go in and we'll change an IP address just to put it in whatever was in the previous controller, and then this new controller becomes invisible to the network. So we pick it up. If you go on serial ports, in particular, the drop address has to be unique, and it can be any number from 1 to 255. And that's all there is to it. If you don't have COM, you can certainly skip this last step. But outside of that, it's pretty simple. Hope to see you next time. Just to recap, the 4 basic steps are: save the database, copy the database out, usually to USB, but you can do it to your computer if you will. Copy it into the other controller and select it. Reboot, and you're pretty much done, and that's it. Thank you for watching this tutorial with me. It's pretty simple operation, but it's always nice to have a list of the steps and procedures when you're doing the step operation.